Alright guys, welcome back. This is Handyman Studios. Today we're starting on the second floor of this house today. So as it's through the tour over here, they have the spinning. This was back in the early days when the guy came through, he would actually sew some stuff on. He came once in a while to sew some stuff on you. I know it's a lot to take in, but this is the whole room of it. That over there to my left was called a weasel. This was actually, you spun this, right? When you spun this around, this weasel, you'd actually spin it around and they would say, pop goes the weasel, because it would just pop right off. You put the cotton on here and you just spin it, and that's what it would go. You remember how the cotton I was talking about? It was from Slater's Mill, almost like the cotton dough, but that's how they would have it. That's where the song comes, pop goes the weasel, because it would pop right off. Now just behind it is called a wheel. They would spin more cotton on there and it would make more stuff. Or two on that. And then they had this though too. This actually grows in the Rhode Island. It's actually the thread, and actually it's really strong. It's like twine. It's almost like that twine that you see at the hardware store. It's pretty cool though. Those are the oldest nails, as you guys can see. Now we're inside this room right now. We're inside the first room right now. Just be careful when you come here. These floors are kind of soft, and watch your heads as you go. So we're gonna go on to this room now. So this room over here, they thought this was the children's room. Was it? It wasn't. It wasn't a children's room at all. These are all the original beds that they had. I know that rabbit looks kind of evil though. Seeing that on the door. So the first bed that they would have, these are for babies, so obviously that you'd have the first bed. The second bed was from the late 1700s though. And then this bed, however, this was kind of cool. They put the baby inside, and basically they would, in the summertime, they would drape something over it to keep the baby cool, like netting, kind of like thing. And in the wintertime, they'd put more like a flannel over it to keep the baby warm. The stroller, now some of this house in here has different things from different centuries. So some of it's original and some of it's from different centuries. This was from this house is from, it was built in 1696, but was originally, they say now 1700s. They just rounded up, I guess. They thought the fireplace was a little small because they thought it was a children's one. So it's pretty cool though. A lot of cool stuff though in here, guys. So if you ever want to see it in here though, you can come see this place. This is the outside. That's where we was. And you can see the double pane on the windows, just to keep the house warm. So we started on the second floor, so we don't have to keep going back up and down the stairs case. That's where we just came from. No. Yeah, the floorboards are original, and then to this house though too. Also too, the reason why it looks so different in every single room, because every single room was put together in a different way. This is just the first room when you first come in. That's what it looks like though. Nobody's in it, so it's a great thing. Then you can hear the floors of them walking on their original wood to the house. This house was actually built in sections, so if a house burnt down back then, they would have basically like, how could I say, they would make it where that they would tax these other houses on though. That's how they would have it. Okay, so coming into this room, this is all about the war. This is all military planes. This is probably 1938's. The hospital people used to wear these. So I know this just doesn't go with the theme. They just wanted to make this more of a theme kind of room in this house though. And if you look at the newspapers though, U.S. declares war on the Japs. That's pretty cool. That was December 8, 1941. That was on a Monday. Now some of these are back almost about 60, 70, 80 years ago, guys. I mean, Roosevelt demanded war on 3,000 casualties in Hawaii. If I'm saying that right. If anybody wants to comment down on that, just leave me something. And then over here, one of my favorite things was actually this. We are friends to the Chinese with Coca-Cola. It was pretty cool. Oh, that's so cool. Okay. So we're gonna move through this real quickly though, guys, because I got another place to be at though today. So here's another room right here that we went in. This is called a bed, and actually this was called a rolling bed. The reason why it was called a rolling bed, because on top you had this big roller, and usually across the headboard it usually go right about here. And then what you usually do is, like, when you get out of bed in the morning, this rolling pin would go at the end of the bed, and you just kind of roll it back up. They had ingenuity, guys. I mean, this was pretty cool for that day and age and era. Now, if you guys look at this, this is Victorian. That's more Victorian though than anything. That's a Victorian style. They would actually take this, pick it up, and pour water into it. They would pour water into here, and then they'd pour water, and then they'd wash their faces, they have like a little washing station for themselves. Now, underneath the bed, there would be called a chamber pot. Now, you guys know back in the 1800s, they didn't have traditional plumbing in the house. Now, back in those cold months, though, when it was like January, February, December, we have 2 feet of snow. You're not gonna want to go out there. So they use these chamber pots underneath the bed. Some of them was actually decorated a little bit neater. There's another chamber pot right there. It's blue, and you just basically do your business in it, and that's what you do. Then at the end of the day, you would take it and throw it somewhere. I guess you would huck it somewhere. I don't know. Use your imagination, guys. So the bed would actually match the dresser. You guys can see me. Hello. That's me, the cameraman. And then you guys notice that these barn doors, so they're not all like downstairs is a little bit more traditional, as you could say. But just be careful, watch your head as you go in the next room, because you will hit your head. You will bonk your head. So this room over here, I know that they have a bed over here. The tall lady was saying that this is more of a sitting room kind of thing. Yeah, you got another chamber pot right there. What also too is about this room that's very cool about this room is that they had a fireplace in here. You see, they have it all. It's all caked up now, but it's all been, kind of plugged up now. But this is a fireplace room, and they used to have a sand pit right here, along here. So they probably had like a stove here, and then all the ashes wouldn't come onto you. So they had a little sandbox here. She said if you move the rug up, though, you could see some of the sandbox where it used to sit. Pretty cool stuff. So this is, once again, we're still on the second floor. Oh, and then they had dresses, though. The dresses, though, she was talking about, these are just going out, stuff like that. Like if you're just going out, wedding dresses. They would dress in black, though, to do their weddings, though. But that was more back in the 1800s. There's a lot of random stuff in here, a lot of mix-match stuff in here. This is a historical house. This is on the National Register of Historical. This room is pretty cool as you go over here. Sorry about that. My camera puts itself into save mode a little bit. So this is the town of Smithfield. This is the Smithfield house. The Smithfield room, actually, you can see a lot of history from Smithfield and different things from Smithfield. Smithfield was actually incorporated in 1730, perhaps named Smithfield, but it was a second to London, so I don't know if you guys can see the little placard. That's where we was over there. You guys look at that painting, that was actually from the mills over there in Smithfield. A lot of cool stuff. Just a lot of, that was Esmond. I'm sorry, Esmond, yes. So if you guys look at those pictures, you guys can see that was Esmond. Esmond Rennellen Mills. No longer a mill, guys. No longer a mill. Then she started talking about the dress. This was like a going out dress. Really cool. Another fireplace in the back. And then you had a lot of stuff. The Providence plantation, for 250 years of it. This was from the people of the neighborhoods of the Pursuing Progressive, 1636 to 1886. I don't know if you guys can see that. They installed a bathroom over here though too. So they have a little kind of working bathroom, kind of like, but now it's up to speed now. This house is up to speed. Okay, so if you guys look to the right of me now, there was a staircase. Now the staircase, you can't go down. Don't try to go down it if you can on the tours, because you will fall down. The staircases are very steep. That one goes into the kitchen of downstairs. Okay. See the doors once again. Okay, so we're not gonna head downstairs now. Oh, and then they also had an attic up here though too. That's the attic upstairs. It's pretty cool. And that's the chimney up there. Way up there at the chimney. So I don't think we're allowed to go up there. That's it, upstairs. But they did have this cool room over here. They had this cool room, and it was for meats. You see it? This was a restored, and basically they would cook all their meats in here, and you can actually, in the summertime, you can actually smell bacon in through this here. Isn't that cool? You can see a lot of it's burned. Like the back wall is like really burned real bad. So, and then that goes over to the other room. So that's about it for the tour of upstairs. This is the upstairs, guys. Okay, so we're gonna head downstairs now. There's the outhouse. So as we head downstairs, guys, you're gonna hold on to the railings. These stairs are very steep. I'm taking it easy so don't fall down the stairs. Careful. Okay. So this is the front room. Now we descended down to the first floor. So now we're in the main room now of the house. This is the main room. You guys can see it all. When guests came here, they would actually sleep in that room. These people back in the day, they had like 10 kids, and basically that the family slept in this room. They'd be off this room. That was actually a room where they can keep all their other stuff in. All their what's it called? They had to prepare food. So if they had to prepare foods, they keep it in this room, and they close the door. Nothing goes in there. This over here on the other side was the kid's bedroom. So if somebody was sick or somebody didn't feel good, they would stay in this room. This is the room that they would stay in. And they had a little baby down. So then you can see the little bird on the thing. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So also too, though, guys, with this big, beautiful fireplace, though, guys, though, too. So that little hole in the back, they would actually make their bread in, though. They would actually have like a beehive kind of like thing. It's called a beehive because they would light this at like 5:30 a.m. and then they would stick their bread right in there, and that's how they made they'd be working all day, and they'd stick their bread right inside there. And if you guys look inside there, it's huge inside there. I don't know if I can show you guys. See if I can try to shine a light in there and try to see if I can. Shine a little bit on the light in there. That's how big it is. I don't know if you guys can see it though, but it goes huge back there. This is all it. This is the little pot that they had with the crane. They'd bring this crane over and they would cook it on the stove. Now, also too, another thing that was very, very interesting was the bread maker. They would take this bread maker. They would take this bread maker right here. They'd put it next to the fireplace, and they cook their toast with it every morning. The kids go crazy for that. But okay, so this is the room over here. We'll get to that room in a little bit. So over here, guys, if you guys coming along with me, this was the living room. So this was added on though too. A lot of this stuff in here was Victorian. A lot of it's Victorian, a lot of modern day. Like you see the couches from like 1920. The chairs are from probably 1920. It's all Victorian. It's all 18th century. But the cool thing is about this fireplace is that it goes around over here though too. There's about 3 fireplaces in each room, so it's pretty cool. So it goes like a little beehive and it keeps the house warm. Now they have this is pretty cool though too. So if you had the fireplace going, you'd have this screen up. And if you didn't want the heat on you though, on your face and stuff, they'd take this and pull this right up. And you can see that's where it goes. And you can pull it right up. And I don't want to touch it because, you know, I told him I wouldn't touch anything. So that was that though. The people of the house would actually do something like that. So this is it right here. A lot of original stuff in this house. The floors are original to the house. Now, as you guys can see, the doors over here are not traditional barn doors. They're actually different. This room, however, going in here, this room was all this artwork on this wall is original. It's original stencils. This was from the 1950s, guys. This is where this was from. Somebody stenciled this all on back in the day. So you guys can see all this. This is pretty cool. Yeah. There's actually so much information that I'm sharing with you guys, and back then they didn't have any lighting though. There are lights in this house. I believe the lighting went in back in like the early 50s though. The ladies that lived here back in the 50s, that's a funny story, is when we get there, I'll show you though, they used the outhouse in the 50s though, and to the day that they died. I believe they died in 1955, the ladies that own this house. There is another fireplace. They just have a something covering it right now, but you can see it though. There is a fireplace there. So this is this room. This is original stencils though too. As it was doing electricity, they found this one though too. So, and I just came in here from RISD and redid this all though. The original colors, restored it back. It was pretty cool. And then you can see all the plugs down at the bottom. So they couldn't really put the plugs into the walls because it's very thick. The walls have what they call the slats behind them. So the slat boards are behind them, so they have to cut that hole out, but they did it in the floor instead. Downstairs, however, is a different story. They put more of a cinder blocks down there, and they got a whole room dedicated towards electricity in this house and, you know, lighting it up. Okay, as we come on to the next room, this is more of a living room. Now they have a fireplace now. This little door, however, was for the fireplace. Well, it was for the fireplace, but now they just kind of hollowed it out a little bit. It's pretty cool. Which was pretty cool. Now the floors, as you guys see the floors, as I do a turn panhandle around, the floors are very cool. They're from Italy. And it was actually feathered on. Don't look like that. They look like modern day floors, but they're not. They're original to the house. This was done, I'm not sure when it was done at all, but this was done a while back ago. And then you guys can see the $5 bill. Cool. This is a bee in here, so I don't want to mess with the little bee. Don't feel like getting stung today. But in this room also too, with this room, was actually this door over here. This room was actually their fine china room. They kept all their fine china in here and they kept this door closed. So basically they had that fine china in here, see? All the fine china was in here that they didn't want anybody else to see. And then see, if you look down to the bottom, that it all stenciled out though too. Pretty cool book though. Little vacuum cleaner. Okay. Now, you guys know about Roger Williams, though. If you want to look up Roger Williams, who he was actually the colonist that actually the person that actually discovered Rhode Island. Founded Rhode Island because, you know, back in the 16th century, he was part of the Massachusetts colony over there. But he wanted freedom of religion and freedom of a lot of other stuff, so that's why he left Massachusetts and said that I want to discover my own land, so basically. But this is George Washington. We all know who George Washington was. He was the first president of the United States of America. And if you guys look at your dollar bills, he's on the dollar bill. This has nothing to do with that. I just thought this was pretty cool how it goes. But the floors are kind of really, really cool. I couldn't get over the floors, how they looked though back in those days. Now, a lot of the house was mixed matched, okay? A lot of it was mixed matched. A lot of it was added on. A lot of those rooms upstairs that you see was added on to the house. Very cool though. This is the basement.
So then the parents
Can you see that? And if you guys take a look out there,
and that's where they kept
that was the outhouse.
things like that.
That's the outhouse. She had a light switch installed because she had basically this lady. Pretty cool though. She had a light in there. And what happened was though, every time she needed to use the bathroom, she put on a light. And that was the light to it, right there, the light switch. And what she did was, she had like a toilet seat put in there. And then when she put the toilet seat in there, what happened is that she kept it warm. You know, the lady was telling me, it's kind of funny. And these older ladies lived here for a long time, so. But that's about it for today. Thank you for sticking with us today. This is Handyman Studios once again. If you ever want to come down for a tour, the tour is about $8. I'm gonna pause for now and we'll be right back. I'm gonna get the whole front of the house though too when you first come in. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Oh yeah, the current time right now is about 3:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Temperature is probably about 50, maybe 55 degrees today. A little cold today. Just take out a jacket if you can. Today is May 3rd, 2026. And once again, thank you for watching. We'll be right back. Alright, 3, 2, 1. Hey guys, welcome back. So today, now we're in the kitchen now. This is a sink underneath here. So you guys can see that. It's a sink underneath here. They just put this in. Remember, there was no plumbing in this house back in the days. They have a stove over here.
Were you in the railroad station, Joe?
Yeah.
That's it.
You got the little plugs over there. Now, if I turn to the left over there, that's the door. That's the door that where you can see. Can I open that door? Can I open that door to show them the staircase?
Tell everybody not to go on that staircase.
So if you open this door, right, you can see that there's a staircase. Hey, staircase? That goes upstairs. You can't use the staircase. There's a switch over here, but they're not going to allow you to use the staircase. Okay. And as you can see, there's a latch onto it. So if you ever want a tour over here, come on down. There's a tours that's being done. Usually tours get done, I'm not sure when. It's when the Historical Society says, you know, when they want to do that, though. But this is the whole area. Now, you're going to come in. So, you know, when you come in, you're going to see a desk here. To my left of me, you'll see a desk here. Do you mind being on camera?
Yeah.
I just want to show the people the form. That's all.
Wait a minute, let me
Sure.
get this straightened out
I don't want to see nobody's information.
here. No, yeah.
It's not what I'm trying to do, not my intent.
Let's cover that. Yeah,
Okay.
okay, I'll get out of the way.
Okay, no problem.
Where should I go?
If you want to just, I'll just switch with you. That's how you come in. Okay. And this is a tour over here where you can take. It's $8 for adults, and children are free underneath the age of 13. So if you want to volunteer here, you can do a volunteer form. You could do a membership form. If you pay $10, you can get a membership. That means free tours on tour days, advance tickets purchased, inviting to members only events, and quarterly newsletters. I've done that already. I've always signed up for that. It's $10. And this is where you're gonna sign in with the guest. I've always signed in. Where did I sign? Maybe they took it away. But I did put my name, and it's Handyman Studios. So if you guys want to visit, anybody want to visit me on YouTube. So they also do over here though too. They also do what's it called? They do acting tours and stuff like that. So basically they would have actors dressed up, and basically they do something like that. This is the lady that we seen over here. Very nice. Her name is Debbie. She didn't want to be on camera, so that's okay. There's another lady that sits here. She didn't want to be on camera, but that's fine. We understand. This is the house what it looks. Some of the house what it used to look like though. Then they have a little fireplace over here though too. And then behind here now, guys, you guys will see a lot of this though. They had their this would be their sink back in the day. They'd fill this out with water. Then down there, they'd have like that was like a little stove kind of area. And what they would do with that, they'd put wood inside there, shut that door, and heat this bar, and heat this up though a little bit. And this would be nice warm water for them to use. So they'd put their clothes in there, or they put their dishes in there, whatever they had in there. And I guess they would use this little device, and that device behind it was to wash their clothes with. Pretty cool, huh? And a lot of relics, so that you guys are seeing, like the telephone, the old telephone, that's a reproduction of it. That's not the original old telephone. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you guys want to see my channel, more of it, please think about supporting our channel at Handyman Studios. Leave any comments that you like. And as of that, today, we're going to end the tour today with that. Thank you for watching. And once again, we'll see you guys soon, okay? Have a nice day. Bye-bye.